The Battlefield 2042 gameplay trailer has released, and we're going to break it down so we can try and get all the details extracted from this trailer as possible so we can know what kind of game we're going to be playing. The trailer opens up essentially a teaser showing a bunch of clips of different types of stuff that you can do, and then the rest of the trailer plays out showing each of those short teasers in a longer capacity. I stopped and took a look at basically the UI to see what we're working with here, and it seems pretty basic with what we're used to in Battlefield. It seems very Battlefield 4-like, which is really cool, which is what we all want. I could see that there's a main weapon and then there's a side weapon, and you could probably choose what you want with those. Then there's your gadgets and like an explosive. There's a mini map that shows you the tickets and the two different sides. It shows you different points of control, A, B, C, D, E. And there's also 4-man squad, although I do prefer the 5-man squads on Battlefield 4. Speaking of Battlefield 4, before we go any further, I want to let you guys know, since I don't have any sponsors, I sponsor my own videos, okay? So what we're doing is we're starting up a Battlefield 2042 clan. We already have a Battlefield 4 server up and running, 64 players. It's called Game Rebel. You could search for it in Battlefield 4, and you can play on our server with us and join our Discord to get more involved in our clan because we're prepping for 2042. Discord.gg/Game Rebel. Then the trailer transitions to the perspective of the pilot, which is really cool because I wanted to see what the helicopter experience is like. And one thing I noticed is that this trailer has a huge emphasis on the helicopter pilots and flying around and stuff. So they're really making an announcement that Battlefield is back because we haven't been able to do this in many years. In the helicopter pilot, you can see we have, it looks like some rockets on the left-hand side, and on the right it says that they are some sort of like radar seeking air-to-air missiles. So I think that's just your typical lock on and launch them. Looks like there's flares and self-repairing, which is really cool. And I noticed that this is a 2-player cockpit. So you can have a gunner as well, just like in Battlefield 4. Really looking forward to seeing how these things handle. That's like my next big thing I want to see. Then we get to see some of the combat footage between the aerial vehicles, and the explosion and smoke effects are just unreal. The lighting is really great, and this is especially a good shot because there's 2 helicopters and a jet flying by all in the same frame. Actually, there's a 3rd helicopter in the bottom right. They are fitting a lot of vehicles in the same screen on this. So, I mean, in reality, Battlefield, I mean, we're probably going to have a bunch of snipers on top of these buildings missing all their shots, but you know how it goes. Then in the trailer, they showed the grappling hook. So this is showcasing the abilities that you have. I'm really excited for this type of stuff because it doesn't really change things too much. It's a simple little ability. Looks like you can use it unlimited uses, might have a cooldown period. And it doesn't really change much. It just makes your gameplay experience a little bit different. I'm wondering if the wingsuit is going to be another ability. So we don't know all the abilities. We only know the grappling hook and the wingsuit. One thing I particularly liked about this, and there's another instance of this happening later, is somebody getting knifed. All right, so Battlefield's always been notorious where you go and you knife someone, you take their dog tags. And that is definitely here to stay in Battlefield 6. Now, the next part of the trailer was really interesting to me because it's a plane, a jet or whatever, with a bunch of people inside of it that can operate it. This looks sick. So if you look, you could see that there's the pilot, then there's a top gunner, a left gunner, a right gunner, and then there's a passenger and Burso. I don't know what that means. What it does mean is that we could fill up these planes with a bunch of people, and then they have a ton of firepower. They probably go down easy, so you could probably shoot one of these down and get yourself a ton of kills if it's filled with bodies, but it's also going to be shooting back at you. In this trailer, we got another look at some of the other weather effects that we're going to get. So it looks like there's a huge sandstorm. What is this, like Dubai or something? It looks like kind of a like a Middle Eastern country. And also, there's these drops, so you can actually drop in your vehicles, like tanks and stuff like that. And then they use a Mars rover-style rocket landing feature before it hits the ground. So it's going down with a parachute, and then bam, the rockets hit and slows it down, and it just made me think of how we landed our robots on Mars lately. Back to the weather effects. I think that like the sandstorm basically turns it into kind of a nighttime, and it changes the whole color palette of the map, which looks so cool with all the neon lights from the buildings and stuff like that everywhere. It feels very like cyberpunky in a way, like just a little nod to that. It just feels kind of interesting, and I like that the map goes from daytime being bright to this, like a complete color palette change mid-game. Tanks look pretty similar to what Battlefield 4 offers. You could fit some people in there. Now, in this one, there's a top gunner, a back gunner, and a spotter, which is more tank-like. So it's actually a tank that requires the whole team. I like that. There's games like Squad and Hell Let Loose and stuff that operate this way, where everyone has to do their part to operate the machine. And I think it's great that Battlefield's including that, because it definitely pushes the team play. And I just gotta say, again, the fire effects and stuff, this particular shot they got of that truck just flying through the air on fire looked so sick. I cannot wait to hear what that is like in the game with no music and stuff, just like pure experience. And then we got to see what the tornadoes look like in game, which was really exciting. It's crazy how the sandstorm came in first and then the tornado comes in afterwards. So there's like weather effect combos. I really like when I got this screenshot. I got it at the perfect time when lightning struck. The tornadoes totally swallow up vehicles and people parachuting and stuff. I think that's sick. So they're a force to be reckoned with. You can escape the tornadoes by running inside, so that's good to know. And they brought back something from Battlefield 3 and 4 that I loved, which was the elevators. Once inside the elevator, the trailer showed something really interesting, and that was the menu that you use to alter your loadout on your gun in real time, which is super sick. And it's pretty easy. It looks like you can just use a D-pad if you're playing controller, or you just click it if you're using a mouse and keyboard. You could change your optics. You can change the type of magazine you're rocking. It looks like you could change your grip or something like that, and the muzzle, all on the fly. I'm just really curious how that's going to play out in combat and what the meta is going to end up being like when you're playing against a bunch of people that can all do that. I would have to say that my favorite part of the trailer was sending the ATV at the helicopter to blow it up. I actually have been doing that for like 2 days in Battlefield 4 ever since I relaunched my server and it's been full and I had people to play with. I've just been like doing the C4 blow up tanks thing, and it's so fun. Glad to see that that's still something that you can do in this game. I'm going to be doing it a lot. Thankfully, they showed some other maps that we could play on, completely different color palettes. Love the variety here. They got this epic shot of all these soldiers running and jumping off this thing. They're about to go wingsuit or parachute or whatever. There's a jet and a helicopter flying overhead. And then there's this map that we saw in the original trailer, and now here's the gameplay of it, of like a big tanker ship that's like washed up on shore, and there's like a bunch of wires like pulling it apart and stuff. I caught a frame of a guy using a shield and running actually kind of fast forward. So I love playing games that have shields. I know they can be annoying sometimes to other players, but that's why they're so fun, because you get to go annoy people with the shield. Looks like you could do that in Battlefield 6. Anyways, guys, that's the trailer breakdown. I think that this game is going to basically be Battlefield 4 with way better graphics and some UI upgrades. Like, subscribe, drop a comment down below with what you think about Battlefield 2042, and I will see you on the battlefield.